let's look at some of the clues that tell us what the Antichrist will do when he comes to power. The first clue we have is that the Antichrist will confirm a covenant dealing with the future of Jerusalem, and the final status of Jerusalem is supposed to be settled within the next 10 months by May 4 of the year 2000. Now, I want to make sure that you understand this. The Bible talks about a covenant that must be confirmed by the Antichrist. There is a covenant on the main floor of the Israeli Knesset right now called the Jerusalem Covenant. Furthermore, according to the context of the prophecy in Daniel 9:27, it appears that this covenant has to do with the temple, with the status of Jerusalem, and with the resumption of animal sacrifice. So since this is the year of Jerusalem, the next 10 months, the deadline has already been set that the final status of Jerusalem must be negotiated and implemented by May 4, the year 2000. Then if the Antichrist is to confirm a covenant affecting the status of Jerusalem, then there's no doubt about it, he would have to be alive and upon this earth at this present time. Why is the deadline May 4, 2000? When the Oslo Accords were signed on September the 13th of 1993, the deadline was set for May 4, 1999, that the final status of Jerusalem should be negotiated and implemented. All during the latter part of 98 and early 99, Yasser Arafat threatened repeatedly, if the peace process does not get moving again, we are going to unilaterally declare a Palestinian state. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, said, and if you do, we then are going to go in and draw the borders wherever we feel we have to have them for the security of the future of the nation of Israel. Well, the leaders of the world saw a calamity coming, and they began to pressure Mr. Arafat. Look, everything has been pushed to a point where the government in Israel has been toppled. They're in the middle of elections. If you declare a Palestinian state right now, you may throw sympathy back to Netanyahu because he's considered more of a hardliner, and so please do not do it right now. Arafat was called to the White House. He also toured Europe and the United States of America, as well as the European Union, pressured Arafat, don't do it right now. Arafat saw the wisdom of this way, but in the middle of these negotiations, he elicited a promise from both the United States and the European Union, if I wait one more year, when I do declare, promise me you will recognize the Palestinian state as legitimate. Both did promise. Clinton promised indirectly. The European Union promised very boldly and forthrightly. So as we are right now in that final year, they've put it off for 1 year between May 4, 1999, and this grace period we're in right now, May 4, 2000. We now have already spent 2 months of that grace period. Mr. Barak, the new Prime Minister of Israel, is saying, as soon as my government is formed, which will happen within the next 7 to 10 days, I immediately am going to put the accelerator on the floor concerning the peace process. You right now are getting ready to enter the year of Jerusalem. If some kind of a covenant is confirmed concerning the status of Jerusalem between now and May 4, year 2000, then it seems almost certain that that event will trigger the beginning of the final 7-year period, which culminates at Armageddon. It also appears almost certain that the Antichrist will be a central player in the confirming of that covenant, and that will begin his 7-year ascent to power. Interesting times. Now add to that the fact that the events of the 6th trumpet of the book of Revelation, this is found in Revelation chapter number 19, the events of the 6th trumpet are the perfect entrance ramp into the reign of the Antichrist. Under the 6th trumpet, 1/3 of the world's population is to be destroyed. It obviously is going to be some kind of a war. It will be triggered by an army of 200 million soldiers. China has boasted that she can put 200 million soldiers on the battlefield, the exact number that's in the prophecy in Revelation chapter number 9, verse 13 through 16. Now, out of the chaos, can you imagine what the world will be like the day after we realize that 2 billion people have died, 1 out of 3? Can you imagine the peace demonstrations? Can you imagine the headlines screaming for answers, screaming for a system of global security? We can't do this anymore. If we do this ever again, there will be nothing left. We must go to a system of global government now. It will be the perfect entrance ramp for the ascent of the man of peace to his throne. So since it appears that the fifth trumpet has sounded, and we don't have time to go into that this evening, but since it appears that that in fact is true, and that the next major event on God's prophetic calendar is the sounding of the sixth trumpet, then it seems likely that this war that will kill 1/3 part of men could very well happen either late 99 or early 2000. Did anyone notice our bombing of the Chinese embassy in Yugoslavia? They don't believe that was an accident. There was a poll taken in China. 851 Chinese were polled. Out of 851, they asked the question, do you believe the American contention that the bombing of the Chinese embassy in Yugoslavia was an accident? Out of 851, 851 said, I don't believe it. We have convinced nobody. I don't happen to believe it either.